Did you catch what Moiraine really did in the final scene? Will Moiraine seek revenge on Elaida? Why was Nynaeve's moment so important and so easy to miss? And what's the secret meaning behind Mat's final choice? The Wheel of Time Season 3 finale was packed with hidden details, clever Easter eggs, and subtle nods that most fans missed completely. From Elaida's chilling foreshadowing to the surprising symbolism behind Rand's arc, there's way more going on beneath the surface. Let's break it all down. Siuan's death and the echo of bonded grief. The moment Siuan Sanche is stilled, betrayed, and executed is one of the most heart-wrenching in the entire series. Yet beyond the emotional weight, there's something else happening beneath the surface, something metaphysical. For death coincides with Moraine's duel against Lanfear, and in the moment of Siuan's death, Moiraine reacts with raw agony. This is more than shared emotion. It may be the residual effect of once deep bond. Though their bond as Aes Sedai and confidants may have been officially severed, their personal connection lingers. The pain Moiraine feels is a psychic echo, perhaps even a subconscious tether of love, loss, and devotion that defies the rules of the One Power. Siuan's final words, "I defy you," spoken with eyes burning with love for Moiraine, become more than a declaration. They act almost like a passing of the torch. In her death, she gives Moiraine the strength to rise and land a near-fatal blow on Lanfear. It's an unspoken inheritance of will, one that powerfully reshapes Moraine's arc and sets the tone for her grief-fueled purpose moving forward. Will Moiraine seek revenge on Elaida? Moraine's arc in the final is steeped in sorrow. She loses Siuan, her oldest companion, her love, her tether to the tower. The bond between them wasn't just personal, it was political. Moiraine operated in the world because Siuan held the tower. Now with Elaida in power, that stability is shattered. And while Moiraine ends the episode focused on protecting Rand and guiding the Isle, there is no question that revenge is growing in her heart like a silent fire. Moiraine is not a woman of rash action. She plots, she calculates. She has waited decades to fulfill prophecy and would not hesitate to play a long game to remove Elaida. What makes this revenge arc especially intriguing is that she may not take it alone. Varen is already investigating the tower's secrets. Olenna is outside the system. Nynaeve and Egwene are growing in power, and the split within the Aes Sedai has already begun. Moraine's vengeance against Elaida may not be personal retribution, but institutional deconstruction. She may not strike with daggers, but with politics, truth, and exposure. If Season 4 follows through, we could see Moiraine become the architect of Elaida's unraveling, working with allies old and new to restore what has been corrupted. And yet, her path may also collide with Egwene's rising authority. If Egwene begins to ascend in the tower's ranks, Moraine's vengeance may take a different tone, not as a return to power, but as a guide to the next generation who will remake the tower in fire and truth. The mysterious power behind Elaida's rise. One of the most intriguing early clues lies in the opening flashback, when a younger Elaida emerges from the twisted red stone Ter'angreal doorway. Though the show does not spell it out, readers will immediately recognize this doorway as the gateway to the realm of the Elfin, inhuman beings who answer questions or grant wishes, often at terrible cost. Elaida possesses a mysterious bracelet afterward, and claims she was promised the Emerlin seat by the Elfin. While she seems supremely confident that her rise is preordained, the significance of this moment lies in the nature of the Elfin themselves. Their promises are cryptic, their prices devastating. This quiet scene reframes Elaida's entire arc, not as a power-hungry manipulator alone, but as someone who may be caught in a larger weave she only believes she controls. The price of that bracelet and its powers, possibly tied to foretelling or political persuasion, has yet to fully reveal itself. But it casts a shadow across every future move she makes, and it may be the very hubris that leads to her fall. Is Lanfear still alive? In the climactic desert battle, Moiraine delivers what seems like a fatal blow to Lanfear, cutting her across the neck after pulling herself up from near death. The entire scene is raw, tragic, and symbolic, filled with grief over Siuan's death and the fury of a woman who has nothing left to lose. Yet for all the power behind the attack and the emotional closure it appears to offer, the show doesn't confirm Lanfear's death. And that in the Wheel of Time is never accidental. The final moment between Moiraine and Lanfear is not a goodbye. It's a postponement. Lanfear escapes, bleeding, furious, but alive. Her parting line, a grim promise that this isn't the last time, isn't just villainous banter, it's prophecy. In the books, Lanfear is notoriously difficult to kill. Her talent with Teleranrahad, her mastery of dreams, her command of identity and illusion, all make her a persistent, recurring threat. If anything, her temporary defeat in the final only adds fuel to her vengeance. She's been humiliated in front of Rand, rejected by Lews Theron's reincarnation, and bested by Moiraine in a moment she believed she had fully orchestrated. The version of Lanfear that returns, because she will return, may be even more dangerous, no longer driven by love, but by rage. Her manipulative charm will give way to direct action, and with the likes of Rahvin and Moiraine still in the shadows, she may re-enter the battlefield with backup and a new sense of focus. The next time she appears, it may not be as a jilted dream lover, but as a Forsaken truly intent on unraveling the pattern. Nynaeve's awakening. Among the most visually striking and symbolically loaded moments of the episode is Nynaeve's emergence from the sea, a scene that mirrors the biblical story of Moses parting the Red Sea. But here, it's not a divine being acting through her. It is her own will, her trauma, her love, and finally her choice to let go of fear that grants her this power. After seasons of emotional repression, bottling her strength behind rage or defiance, Nynaeve reaches a moment of quiet surrender, drowning not just physically, but spiritually. And then, when she sees the vision of the daughter she once lost during her accepted test, it becomes her turning point. What makes this moment so compelling is how it redefines the idea of control and power in the world of the Wheel of Time. Nynaeve does not access the One Power through anger as she has before. This time, she connects through love, memory, and acceptance of herself. It marks the destruction of her block, both magical and emotional. She parts the sea not with vengeance, but with a newly awakened sense of self. The water obeys her, not because she demands it to, but because she no longer resists who she is. Her ascent from the waves is a rebirth. Her clothing soak, the sky dark, the sea raging behind her. It's a moment of pure myth-making. The show frames her like a goddess risen from the deep, but it doesn't feel distant or divine. It feels earned. She is no longer a woman afraid of her power. She is at last the force of nature others feared she could become. This moment cements Nynaeve, not only as one of the strongest channelers alive, but as someone whose power is rooted in pain, transformed into purpose. That shift may alter the balance of the tower itself in seasons to come. Liandrin and Moiraine. While Nynaeve emerges into the light, another woman descends deeper into shadow. Liandrin's trajectory throughout Season 3 has been a slow, deliberate fall from conflicted manipulator to full-fledged servant of the shadow. But in Episode 8, her arc evolves once more, not through coercion, but through choice. Her meeting with Moiraine reveals not just a growing alliance, but a hunger for transformation. Moiraine, ever the spider in the web, sees in Liandrin a kindred spirit, someone broken, angry, ruthless, and utterly useful. What's chilling is how eagerly Liandrin embraces this new role. She is no longer content to be a disgraced Red Sister, nor merely a Black Ajah pawn. With Moiraine, she sees an opportunity to become something greater. Not a servant of the Forsaken, but one of them. She even tells Moiraine outright that she will prove herself by helping wield the collar, which we know requires two women. Her knowledge of the tools of subjugation, paired with her ambition, makes her a perfect candidate for a new kind of evil, not blindly loyal, but aspirationally dark. The bracelet Moiraine gets her isn't just a magical trinket, it's a symbol of initiation. A cursed gift, echoing the same kind of twisted bargains made by the Forsaken themselves. Their alliance is more than just a villain team-up. It represents the next phase of the Shadow's plan: infiltration, manipulation, and psychological warfare from within. Melindhra's redemption and the price of oaths. Melindra's secret loyalty to the Shadow was already a quiet shock in earlier episodes, but her final moments in Episode 8 bring to light an understated rule of dark friendship. When she chooses to defy Lanfear's orders and confesses her truth to Lan, her death isn't just poetic, it's structural. In the lore of the Wheel of Time, dark oaths sworn to the shadow carry lethal consequences when broken. This plays out in real time as Melindhra, having attempted to redeem herself for the sake of the Golden Crane and the dream of Malkyr, dies as soon as she defies her vow. It's a moment soaked in irony. She seeks honor, and in finding it, she dies. Her death serves as a subtle lesson. Redemption is possible, but only for those not bound by magical oaths. For those who have sworn themselves in blood, the light becomes a path they can only see, never walk. Mat's bargain with the Finn. Mat's accidental return to the redstone doorway, Turing Griel, delivers a surreal, myth-heavy scene that blends humor, horror, and consequence in equal measure. He meets the Ilfin, who ask what he needs, not wants, a crucial linguistic distinction from the books. Mat, frustrated with being a pawn in the cosmic game, asks to be free from the influence of the One Power, to be fixed, and to be released. When he returns, he's hanging from a noose and has lost the voices and memories that once haunted him. But as Mim pulls him back to life, we're left with a deeper question. What else did he lose? His ancient memories, granted by the earlier encounter with the Ilfin, were part of his unique edge. Without them, who is Mat Coffin? The final image of the Foxhead Medallion and the Ashandarai Spear hint that Gits remain, but a crucial part of his identity may now be gone forever. This isn't just a quirky, magical moment. It's a quiet tragedy, and one that redefines Mat as he enters the next chapter of the story. Calendar's Shadow and the Forsaken's War. Lanfear's subtle references to Calendar and her threats to Rahvin are more than idle Forsaken posturing. She's playing a game that spans the entire age, and her manipulation of Kaladin, giving him fake dragon tattoos, is part of a larger campaign of disinformation. The show doesn't dwell on it, but this is a Forsaken power play in action. She knows the Aiel need a Karakarn, and she introduces a false one to challenge Rand's claim. But more than that, she's laying the groundwork to isolate and destabilize the Dragon Reborn. Her threats to the other Forsaken, her interest in Calendar, and her deep wounds from Rand's rejection show us that Lanfear is operating on multiple emotional and strategic levels. She isn't just a jilted lover or a mad sorceress. She's a chess master with her eye on total control. Balefire's debut and the unraveling of time. Elaine's use of the Balefire rod against Jean reveals the first on-screen display of one of the most dangerous weaves in the Wheel of Time universe. When the beam hits Jean, time itself rewinds. Sealing stones fall in reverse. Bodies rewind their movement, and even the weave dissipates backward. This is Balefire's terrifying power. It not only kills, but removes its victim from the pattern before the strike. It erases actions already taken. The show doesn't fully explain this yet, but observant viewers will have caught the implications. Balefire was banned by the White Tower for good reason. Its use in this moment not only erases Jean, but could have unexpected effects on all who interacted with her that day. The scene hints at how dangerous this weapon is, and how desperate times are becoming. The desert sky and prophecy fulfilled in rain and fire. The final scene of Rand bringing rain to the waste, crowned by prophecy, is not just visually breathtaking. It's the culmination of 1,000 whispered myths. When he proclaims himself Karakarn, the sky darkens, thunder crashes, and rain falls upon the dry land. In the lore of the Aiel, this moment confirms his identity, but the show adds layers of tension. Egwene, standing tall as others kneel, sees what others do not. Rand's power, laced with light and shadow, is growing harder to contain. His eyes are distant. His connection to the One Power lingers too long. Her whispered plea, "Let go," hangs unanswered as the screen fades to black. This is not just the end of an episode. It's a question. Is the dragon still in control of his will, or is the pattern tightening into something darker? Liandrin's next move. What makes Liandrin especially dangerous moving forward is her unique perspective. She knows the tower, its weaknesses, its politics, but more importantly, she knows the next generation. She trained Nynaeve. She observed Egwene. She has seen what raw potential looks like. And now, with Moiraine whispering in her ear, Liandrin may be the perfect recruiter or corrupter of young channelers. Her plan seems to already be in motion. She speaks of becoming the first chosen of a new age, which implies she sees herself as more than a servant of the current Forsaken. She wants to help rebuild the Shadow's army with a fresh ideology, one that isn't bound by the old rules or broken loyalties. And if she can manipulate or enslave young female channelers using tools like the collar and bracelet, she could create a terrifying counterforce to the White Tower's novices. This vision of a dark mirror of the Tower, led by Liandrin and powered by Moiraine's knowledge of weaves and domination, could pose a threat the Light hasn't even begun to anticipate. The Tower's war with the Shadow may no longer be about open battles. It may become a cold war of ideology, infiltration, and corrupted kin. The balance of power has shifted. What's perhaps most subtle in this final is how much the true balance of power has changed without the main characters fully realizing it. While Rand claims the title of Karakarn and the Isle kneel, Lanfear is already laying traps for him with the other Forsaken. While Egwene pleads for reason, her vision is ignored. And while the Tower mourns its fallen Amirlin, the true rot spreads deeper with Liandrin's rise. Moiraine and Rand may believe they've turned a corner, but they haven't seen what's happening in the shadows. Nynaeve has unlocked her true strength, but the enemy now knows exactly how strong she is. Mat walks free, but his memories, his identity, and possibly his fate have been rewritten. In this final episode, power shifts hands again and again, but not always where people are looking. That is perhaps the greatest hidden truth of all. The wheel turns, but not always where the Light expects. Egwene Olvere. Egwene stands apart in this final, not just physically, as the only one who does not kneel before Rand, but emotionally and spiritually as well. She is beginning to see the bigger picture, and what she sees terrifies her. While everyone else is caught up in prophecy and reverence, Egwene alone senses the danger. She watches Rand lose himself in the storm, his powers surging uncontrollably, and she doesn't see a savior. She sees a storm ready to break the world apart. This moment places Egwene on a new path, one not as Rand's follower, but as his counterbalance. Her journey in Season 3 has shown her pain, resilience, and how to stand tall in the face of overwhelming force. Her growing strength, both in the power and in politics, may soon be tested, not against the Forsaken, but against Rand himself. The show subtly frames her as the character most grounded in perspective. Unlike Moiraine, who believes in Rand's role at all costs, or Mat, who avoids it altogether, Egwene sees both the man and the prophecy, and knows the difference. Her silence at the end of the final is not passive. It is loaded with questions. Can she trust him? Can anyone? And if not, what happens when the Dragon Reborn becomes the threat? Rahvin's role in the Forsaken power struggle. Rahvin, who appears briefly in Episode 8, might seem like just another name among the Forsaken, but he's anything but. Historically, Rahvin is the Forsaken of manipulation. While others wage war with power, Rahvin plays politics. He prefers control through charm and compulsion, inserting himself into kingdoms, whispering into royal ears, and toppling dynasties from within. When Lanfear warns him after killing Sammael, her words aren't idle. She's staking a claim to dominance among the Forsaken. But Rahvin is no fool. He's likely already maneuvering to counter her, perhaps by forming his own alliances or using puppets like Lord Gaebril, more on him shortly, to spread his influence without revealing his hand. In the future, Rahvin may emerge as one of the central antagonists, not through brute force, but through subtlety. He could be behind the next political crisis, the next kingdom's fall. His war won't be on the battlefield. It'll be in the throne rooms, the tower halls, and the minds of those who never see him coming. The truth behind Lord Gaebril. Elaine's conversation with Tom about Lord Gaebril might have seemed like a throwaway moment, but it's not. Gaebril, as book readers know, is not who he claims to be. In fact, he's Rahvin in disguise, the man who has charmed Queen Morgase and positioned himself as her consort as a Forsaken. using compulsion to manipulate Anders' politics and prepare the kingdom for shadow influence. Tom's confusion, his inability to recall ever meeting Gabriel, hints that something is deeply wrong. Elaine's casual dismissal of the warning, on the other hand, shows just how far Rahvin's influence has already spread. Going forward, Gabriel will likely become a central player in Anders' destabilization. Elaine, once blind to the threat, may have to face the horrifying truth. Her mother isn't being seduced, she's being controlled. This revelation could drive Elaine to the center of a political rebellion, as she fights not just for her crown, but to save her family from the grip of the shadow.